All right. So in the news, rest in power to Twins pitcher or former Twins pitcher Jim Mudcat Grant. He passed away at 85. He is remembered for a home run he made during the sixth game of the series, 3-1 shot that led the Twins to a 5-1 victory. It was the only homer he hit that season, but it forced the series to continue even as the Twins lost the next day. That year, he became the first black pitcher in Major League history to win 20 games in a single season. He was born in Locochee, Florida, and began his career when he signed to play with Cleveland at the age of 18 in 1958. He spent time with 7 different clubs during his career. Later in his life, Grant worked as an activist and advocate for black participation in baseball. In 2006, he published a book called The Black Aces, which chronicled the lives of the first black 20-game winners in MLB history. May he rest in power.
Rest in power. Quite a storied career. Okay. China's new anti-foreign sanctions law sends a chill through business community. Beijing. Over the last 3 years, the U.S. and European Union have imposed a series of sanctions on Chinese officials and companies. Now China has created a new legal tool to hit back. Organizations with a foot in both the United States and China may face a tough choice going forward. By complying with American sanctions on China, they face the possibility of tough sanctions in China as a penalty for doing so. On Thursday, Beijing passed a sweeping law designed to counter U.S. and EU sanctions on Chinese officials and major Chinese companies. Those involved in designing or implementing the U.S. and EU sanctions could find themselves or their family members denied visas to China. Their property in China may be seized, and any commercial transaction they attempt with Chinese institutions can be blocked. The law signals that when you have no standing or power to boss people around, then your law in the U.S. will get you nowhere in China, says Wei Jingguo, a former commerce vice minister. This law is like the ringing of the gong. It is a warning to the U.S. You should be worried. China will not endure this treatment as easily as it once did.
Looks like China's coming up.
Sounds like a threat.
Like, we're not taking this stuff no more. Speaking about taking no stuff, peace out to Julius Malema versus France. What is happening? Stay out of it. Here's why Julius Malema has picked, quote-unquote, a fight with France. Malema spoke about the chaos witnessed at the Pan-African Parliament, PAP, last week. The meeting drew criticism after physical altercations and persistent disruptions stalled proceedings in Madrid. The 40-year-old has defended those scenes, however, arguing that robust debate is needed when tackling serious issues. Yeah, that kind of sounds like tackling issues regarding reparations here, man. We need to tackle it. We need that debate, right? However, he wasn't so forgiving when it came to assessing why things got so violent. He blamed a cohort of countries, allegedly under the influence of France, for trying to block the rotation of leaders in the House. Julius Malema states that the French are interfering with the process in order to ensure they keep their choice of candidates in power. So yeah, peace out to Julius Malema. Looks like he's trying to hold it down, for his own country. Because we know that, France has colonized not only South Africa, but many other parts of Africa as a whole. So there you go.
There you go. All right. Alleged 3%ers, militia members indicted in new Capitol riot conspiracy case. 6 California men, 4 of whom identify as members of 3%ers militia, have been indicted for conspiring to obstruct congressional proceedings on January 6th, the Justice Department announced. The indictment, which was unsealed Thursday, alleges the group coordinated travel to D.C. with a stated intention to fight, heeding President Trump's call to protest the result of presidential election. Some defendants wore tactical gear, and at least one prosecutor said carried a knife while he pushed past police line on Capitol grounds. The case marks the first conspiracy indictment filed against members of the Three Percenters, an anti-government extremist group that, according to Anti-Defamation League, derives their name from an inaccurate claim that only 3% of American colonists fought against the British during the Revolutionary War, and likens today's U.S. government to the British colonization. The defendants, Alan Hostetter, 56, Russell Taylor, 40, Eric Warner, 45, Felipe Antonio, Tony Martinez, 47, and Derek Kinnison, 39, and Ronald Millay, 51, were charged with crimes that including conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, and other unlawful entry charges. The indictment, which was first reported by Seamus Hughes, director of George Washington University program on extremism, also alleges that at least 4 members of the group discussed plans to bring firearms and other weapons to Washington, but charges only one defendant, Taylor, with unlawful possession of dangerous weapons, a knife, on Capitol grounds.
All right, does anybody have any comment on that one, or are we going to go to the next in the news slide?
Okay, let's move on.
All right, next. See what we got. Congress looks to break up big tech with bold new antitrust bills. Congressional lawmakers are targeting tech giants over antitrust concerns, and the proposed legislation could force them to overhaul or even break up their increasingly dominant business empires. The package of 5 antitrust bills introduced by a bipartisan group in Congress on Friday aimed at Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google's parent Alphabet would make it harder for the biggest tech platforms to complete mergers and keep them from owning businesses that create conflicts of interest. Some of those acts are Ending Platform Monopolies Act, the Merger Filing Fee Modernization Act, the American Innovation and Choice Online Act, the Platform Competition and Opportunity Act, the Augmenting Compatibility and Competition of Enabling Service Switching Act. If you want more information on those, you can go to sicilene.house.gov. Majority of those bills are now with the House, and the Senate also has some other bills that you could take a look at congress.gov/bill/117th Congress.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to take a closer look at these and see how, they're going to impact us. They like to slip a lot of stuff in. Okay, what else is going on? Jeff Bezos will go to space on Blue Origin's first crewed flight. The multi-billionaire, with a B, along with his brother and at least one other passenger, could reach suborbital heights as soon as July 20th. Oh, that's coming up soon. Amazon.com and Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos will fly on the first crewed flight of the New Shepard suborbital vehicle, the billionaire announced on Instagram on Monday, June 7th. The flight is scheduled for July 20th, the 52nd anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. The New Shepard's capsule, which operates autonomously and does not need a pilot, will launch from Blue Origin's West Texas facility. The flight will last approximately 11 minutes. Bezos' brother Mark will join the crew as well, the Instagram post noted. Ever since I was 5 years old, I've dreamed of traveling to space, Bezos wrote. On July 20th, I will take the journey with my brother, the greatest adventure with my best friend.
Yeah, anybody after we celebrate Juneteenth want to go up to with Jeff Bezos? Anybody? Anyone? Any takers?
I don't think you're
Negative.
invited. You're not invited.
No.
No, and I think it's crazy that they're spending millions and billions of dollars to go to space when we need to fix Earth. Like we need to handle a
Right.
bunch of issues that are happening right here, right now.
Like paying your employees.
That part.
Anyway,
Unionizing, all that good stuff. Yeah, priorities, folks. Priorities, folks. They got to make these first steps to, colonize the universe.
speaking of colonization, federal judges halt loan forgiveness program for farmers of color. A federal judge has halted a loan forgiveness program for farmers of color in response to a lawsuit alleging the program discriminates against white farmers. U.S. District Judge William Greshbach in Milwaukee issued a temporary restraining order Thursday suspending the program for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reported. The program pays up to 120% of direct or guaranteed farm loan balances for Black, American Indian, Hispanic, Asian American, or Pacific Islander farmers. President Joe Biden's administration created the loan forgiveness program as part of its $1.9 trillion COVID-19 pandemic relief plan. This is a big deal for us, John Boyd Jr., president of the National Black Farmers Association, told CBS Money Watch in March when the federal spending package was approved. We see this as a great opportunity to help thousands.
Hey, I have a thought on this if I could, fam. I wasn't planning on it, but if I may, this is something that is really bad and sad to see, right? Because this is one of the things that is happening across the country. We saw here in California the loss of Prop 16 back in 2020, just a few months back. And all across the country, we're seeing these attacks on programs that are, even in their best, really not even specific to Black folks. The stuff that Biden put in the COVID bill was for, and this is part of what you get when you have these people of color type of policies, and you don't have policies that are rooted really in lineage and really rooted in the harm of what was done and what needs to be repaired, and what the good arguments are for corrective justice, right? For correcting something. So this is sad to see. This is bad, and just another example of really nothing being done for Black folks under Joe Biden.
Right. That's why we need, reparations and specificity. I mean, there's been plenty of programs that have gone the other way and excluded, Black people, people of color, whatever. And no one had any problem with that. So let's see what else is going on. Garland declares voting rights expansion central to democracy. Attorney General Merrick Garland affirmed Friday the expansion of voting rights as a central pillar to American democracy, building upon Biden administration's commitment as the issue has gained prominence in the aftermath of the 2020 election. We know that expanding the ability for all eligible citizens to vote is a central pillar, Garland said. That means ensuring that all eligible voters can cast a vote, that all lawful voters are counted, and that every voter has access to accurate information. Garland's speech comes as voting rights legislation faced dire odds in Congress, given Democrats bare majorities in both the House and Senate, as well as internal tensions between progressives and moderates and Biden's preferred expansion, the For All People Act. The bill was given this symbolically important H.R. 1 and S1 designations, typically a display of the majority leadership top priority. But Sen. Joe Manchin last week cemented his opposition to the measure in an op-ed published in the Charleston Gazette Mail and subsequent media interview, saying that it would it would divide us further as a nation. He did signal his support for the narrow H.R. 4, named in honor of late Democrat Republican John Lewis. All right. And
yeah, so we just want to just briefly highlight for the People's Act of 221. So this bill addresses voter access, election integrity, and security campaign finance and ethics for the three branches of government. And let's look at the HR1, I think it's called. Yes, HR1. Pretty much the same thing. The bill addresses voter access, election integrity, and security campaign finance and ethics for the three branches of government. So I know, Chris, you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, I have some brief comments here. I'll try to be brief. With all due respect to Merrick Garland, that's all talk, and that's, to be honest with you, hard to believe any of what he's saying about how committed the Biden administration is to this until they're able to get their own people and own party to be committed to this. What you read, Kim, just a few minutes ago, the last part you read about Senator Joe Manchin, he's a Democrat. So the Democrats are blocking the Democratic voting, plan. That's what's going on right now. The Democrats are blocking the Democrats. The Republicans have nothing to do with this right now. And it's Senator Joe Manchin, but it's not just Senator Joe Manchin. I believe it's probably Senator Kristen Sinema, if I'm not mistaken. Also, there's probably some other senators that are involved in this too. And this is really not unexpected to see, right? Because this is the condition of the Democratic Party right now. And this is why, when we're talking what we like to talk about, which is reparations, we're going to have to spend some time getting Congress right in whatever way that needs to happen, right? Getting Congress right. Because right now, we don't have either party that would be for the kind of reparations that we want to see. So I'll stop there.
Truly an emergency. How drought returned to California and what lies ahead just 2 years after California celebrated the end of its last devastating drought, the state is facing another one. Snowpack has dwindled to nearly nothing. The state's 1,500 reservoirs are only 50% of what their average levels, and federal local agencies have begun to issue water restriction. Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a drought emergency in 41 of the state's 58 counties. Drought disasters are among the most costly, according to U.S. National Centers for Environmental Information, running on average of 9.3 BN in damage and loss. Dry conditions are also expected to fuel another potentially devastating wildfire season. In 2020, roughly 4.1 million acres were consumed by flames, tens of thousands of buildings burned, and 31 people lost their lives.
So speaking of wildfires, just some things to note. Recognize the warnings and alerts, review important documents, make an emergency plan, strengthen your home, gather supplies, know your evacuation zones, stay safe during fires, and take precautions when returning home after wildfire. Log on to ready.gov/wildfires. That's ready.gov/wildfires. And to note, this ready.gov does not sponsor or is not affiliated with the Mass Media Group at all. We're just letting the family know and the viewers know that to get ready, and especially in California and other parts of the country, that you can go to this website to get prepared.
Yep, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready.
Word.
One emergency after another. Let's see. Looks like state of emergency may be lifting in out here regarding COVID restrictions. What will change on June 15th? This is NDC guidance to reduce risk. California is preparing to get back to normal on June 15th. Capacity and distancing restrictions will be lifted in most businesses and activities. Large-scale indoor events will have vaccination or negative test requirement for attendees through at least October 1st. Every business needs to support a safe, clean, and low-risk environment. If you own or manage a business, find the guidance for your industry and follow it to protect your workers and customers.
And just to clarify, I think the governor will still have a state of emergency, but I think this particular lift will go into effect on June 15th. So I still think he's going to have probably have to confirm that, the state of emergency regarding COVID for sure.
But it's okay to convene under these new restriction lifts.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, go to covid19.ca.gov, fam, if you guys want any more information on that. So yeah, it looks like Governor Newsom of California has a $100 billion comeback plan. Some of the key points is going to be retirement, stimulus state tax rebate, homelessness, mental health systems, housing, public education, broadband, jobs and infrastructure, climate change, government and digital transformation, criminal justice, and immigration integration. I think, fam, we should probably hopefully do a show about this so we can, break this down and see how this is actually impacting, or if it's going to be impacting the Black community. But that's just some thoughts.
Yeah,
All right.
Definitely need to dive in and figure out what's all in this $100 billion comeback plan and who's going to be coming back here. All right. Red Robin employee says she found razor in her salad after complaining of co-workers using N-word. Zanara James is suing the Madison Heights restaurant where she used to work, saying co-workers put what appeared to be a razor in her salad after she repeatedly complained to managers about their repeated use of the N-word. James first went to supervisors and managers about the issue, but says her co-workers were not disciplined and kept using the N-word. She later had a heart-to-heart with one of the main culprits. Me being new and not knowing him well, I wanted to bridge the gap and say, hey, it was me who let them know, and I wanted to tell him why it made me uncomfortable and why, but people know why. He didn't care why, and his reaction to me was vehemently like, I know you snitched on me. James said it all came to a head a few weeks ago when she ordered a salad to take home at the end of her shift. She says the brother and friends of the man who accused her of snitching prepared it. I wouldn't have let them prepare my food. I'd be like, can I make my own salad? She worked there, didn't she? I can make my own salad.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not. I have to reread the article. But from my understanding, supposedly, I don't know if it was Red Robin or somebody who worked there, was saying that it accidentally fell into the salad and it just happened to be there. Like nobody placed it from in the salad, from what my understanding of the story goes. So there you go.
Well, good thing she found it before, any damage could be done.
Yep. All right, so it looks like, let's see. Actually, let's go to brother Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. For those that did see it, it looks like Showtime was having some issues with the fight. It looks like some servers were crashing throughout the pay-per-view broadcast. The problem started just as the card was about to begin, as fans began complaining that the Showtime app and the Showtime website were not loading, with numerous users receiving an error message. The official Showtime support page actually suggested to, quote, please try again in 10 minutes. We are working to resolve the issue, unquote. Due to the constant problems, plaguing the event, Showtime eventually issued a statement on Twitter directing fans who were unable to view the card to request a refund for the pay-per-view broadcast. So family out there, if you did watch it and you were having some issues, go get your check or your refund. And yep, good luck on that one. So speaking of the greatest of all time, the E-Man the Mass Media Group looks like we're going to be working on a program called the Political GOAT, the greatest of all time. Yes, with the one and only, Mr. Chris L himself. Yeah, so we're gonna be getting.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate you, brother. Like, we're gonna really get and hone in and go deeper. We're gonna dive deep into this political game, this political atmosphere, and invite some people on the program and really dig deep, brother. So yeah,
for real, and chop it up, man. And it's gonna be also, in addition to being obviously like super informative, and you're gonna learn something every time you watch, but it's also gonna be entertaining and fun, and it's gonna have our culture in it too, right? It's not gonna be dry, right? This is stuff that doesn't have to be dry, and stuff that you don't want to do. This is some of the best, some of the most important, some of the most fun stuff you can be doing. And I'm of course talking about obviously the work that we get to do for reparations and for Black folks and for our people, right? So check us out. The Political GOAT is coming. I believe we said we're gonna do something this month to get us started, but I can't wait, brother. And for those out there, please check us out. Make sure you watch, make sure you support, make sure you do all of that. Make sure you add your ideas and add your thoughts and your feedback to what we're doing too, because you know how we work in a community way, right? So I can't wait, brother.
Yeah, and for anyone listening to this, if you got the chops and you think you want to come on to the show and have a political discussion, we can even call it a debate if you like to, and that goes beyond just the Black vote, white vote, Asian vote, Latino vote, whatever vote. If you got that game, if you got it, come through.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whatever. If you got that game, bring it, but you better bring your A game. That's all I know. All right, fam. Well, that's in the news. If anybody doesn't have anything else, we're gonna wrap it up.
All right, in the news.